The Gnostic Hymn Series is a series of weapons that are gifted to travelers who purchase the Battle Pass. Each weapon in the series has its own story. In this video, I'll go over the lore presented in this weapon series and the stories they tell. Also, if you like this video, consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, let's move right on and get into the video. This crimson polearm has seen countless battles, and has borne witness to a certain gladiator's valor. Its ice-cold tip was often drenched in the blood of its foes, to the thunderous applause of the crowd. Bloodstained was the gladiator's fate, and freedom, so near yet so far, was often balanced on a knife's edge. The dull sound of that crimson tip with piercing flesh was many a battle's death knell. As the gladiator's final performance ended, their master spoke up amidst the thunderous applause. "The promised number has been met. You have done well, and are a warrior worthy of great renown. Consider this weapon to be a parting gift. Yet, would you not consider fighting on? Continue your brilliant performance as a free person, for your glory and for mine. What say you?" Many years passed, and the beasts and men who fell to that spear grew too numerous to count. The duelist's weapons became known as undefeated, but his heart belonged to his young master. As the gladiator's final performance ended, amidst thunderous applause, his weapon fell to the bloodied sand as the red-haired maiden's scorching blade pierced the old warrior's heart. As he fell, despondent, he turned his eyes to his beloved master, his noble lord who cherished him. "Eberhard, Master Eberhard, did my final performance please you?" But his master's seat was empty, save for a wine goblet and silver platter, toppled in haste. "At first, I fought for myself, for blood and battle lust. But since a time I know not when, I have killed for my master. Only for the sake of others can we fight like wild beasts without care. Someone like you, who fights for her people and not for herself. Surely you understand this as well." A great sword fashioned from the spine of a great sea monster, each eerie segment of bone a tale unto itself. In the past, seamen would use the bones of such monsters as figureheads, and with them frighten the beasts who dwelt in the deep sea, and who envied the land dwellers. In the stormy oceans of the ancient past, those who put out to sea would often never be seen again. The carefree sea shanties of today were, in years long gone, farewell songs that left people in mournful silence. There was a great sword-wielding captain in those days who enjoyed drinking and making merry before a voyage. When people questioned him, he laughed and said, "I know myself. What is wine and song to me? Worry not. Once the sea and winds are right." But he would never finish that statement. He would only raise his mug and call for all around to have another drink. Then, the day when the sea and winds came together arrived at last, and the stern of the great vessel rode them as it sailed. Deep into the misty sea it went, far across the darkening waves, into the ocean that teemed with sea creatures. And at last, neither the singing skipper nor his ship would ever return to the harbor ringed by mountains. After many days, the corpse of a sea monster from the deep was beached upon the shore by the waves. Brilliant white bones shone out from a great gash torn into it by a greatsword. Its blood had long been washed clean. "When the sea and winds are right, I will go forth to sea and adventure. O maiden charmed by tidal song. So what if I sleep with the fishes? That way, I will be able to send my sea shanties into the deep where she dwells." Today, the seas are no longer plagued by giant creatures that emerge from the storm and rain down devastation upon the waves. The practice of mounting skeletons of sea monsters onto the bows of ships has also been lost with their extinction. But when one sails far abroad, sometimes one can still hear the spine-chilling sound of thunder rumbling in the depths. Rumored to be a legendary orb of Liyue, it once absorbed all the light in the world, but was kept inside a wooden box for millennia afterwards. Even so, its power has not dissipated. Now released from its container, it shines evermore. In the hands of a truly knowledgeable sage, perhaps its extraordinary power would finally be unleashed after lying dormant for millennia. A story that has long been popular with the jewelers of Liyue holds that the master craftsman Kun Wu once took the light of the heavenly bodies and sealed it within a wooden box. Kun Wu then buried deep that box inside a dark, rocky chamber, where it remained in pitch blackness for 49 days and 20 hours, till finally the pearl within had absorbed the shine of the sun and moon. A most bizarre tale indeed. And yet to this day, many in Liyue hold steadfastly to their belief in the esoteric talents of the master craftsman Kun Wu. Someone once plucked up the courage to ask the aging craftsman what his secret was. The eccentric old man laughed off the nonsensical notion of his mystical capabilities. 'Twas purely the product of prolonged polishing. But his apprentice revealed a different story when asked about it in private. Just as Kun Wu finished polishing the solar pearl, the splendor of the heavens shone down, and a crimson moon filled the sky. But did this phenomenon mean that Kun Wu had indeed received divine assistance in his craft? Or was it a measure of his own accomplishment that his own lofty ambitions had sufficed to send waves through the firmament, and even elicit a response from the heavenly bodies? A blade that thirsts after fresh blood will be awakened by its scent. Those who possess, wield, and nourish it will keep killing, till even a pure soul is blackened by bloodshed. There once was a bright white knight who longed ever for the path of justice. Clad in burnished armor, a mirror-sheen sword hung from his hip. Wherever there was injustice, man-eating beast, or fire in the distance, the knight would ride up in haste to cut, slash, and pierce. Following the teachings of the wolf pup, who taught him chivalry, justice, and swordsmanship, he cut, slashed, and pierced them from head to toe, till justice had run its course, and the monster moved no more. I began to lose myself in cutting, slashing, and piercing. When my blade's edge met my foe's flesh, it sent a tingle up my spine. I thought, that must be the feeling of justice getting its due. As long as I cut, slash, and pierce the evil in this twisted world, someday it shall all be cleansed. O foolish knight, slaughter in the name of justice is slaughter still. Nay, slaughter in the name of justice is justice. Cut, slash, pierce. Thus will you see justice done. Though the white flowers the maidens offer you should be bloody black, though your sword shall no longer gleam bright, though your fair countessness shall turn hideous, and you should be forced to don an iron mask, though those you defend cannot understand you, cease never. And so the black-stained knight persisted on his path, pursuing monsters in the name of justice, until he came upon an ancient, ruined realm where he discovered the ultimate injustice. This bow once belonged to a certain hunter, and its green color was such that it could blend in with the natural environments, to be as pure as the beasts of the verdant fields who roam in the forests in the light of day, to never bear any ill will, and to never loose an arrow for any reason but to survive. The nameless hunter was taught thus, and grew thus, far away from the city. We were born of the greenery. As long as there is grass and shade, we shall move unimpeded. We are the same as beast and bird. As long as we follow the laws of nature, then we shall not fear death. All those who follow nature, when their life reaches its last ebb, shall head toward that endless plain. Following these precepts, the hunter left no traces, and fought not against the natural order. She comforted the wild beasts that had been shot through the heart, until their lives had returned to nature. If that calamity had not happened, if she had not tracked the tainted blood upon the leaves, if she had not met that dying, blind youth under the tree where she often napped, then perhaps she may have never been shaken by the thoughts of revenge, by blood and fire. Never forget, good Viridescent. Never forget that you belong to the green, children of the forest. Never loose your arrow for war, for revenge, or for glory, for the bloodstain shall never find yonder hunting fields of endless viridescence. Then at least do not let this bow be tainted by my mortal vengeance. I cannot reach the other side, whether to meet my master or the parents whom I have never met. But at least let this bow remain pure, and let it carry my thoughts and regrets to them. And that's it for the Gnostic Hymn Weapon Series. Each of these weapons has their own story, and they are all expanded upon in either other weapons or artifact sets, some of which I've covered already. Also, please give suggestions about what artifact set or weapon series you want me to cover too. I want to go over them all eventually. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video.